views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Access Fort Wayne is a department of the Allen County Public Library. If you or anyone you know might be interested in making a television show, please call 260-421-1250.
Pretty good. Nothing nice. Hi, Dr. Rudy Cashman. I have a guest with me today to our Preventing, Stopping, Reversing Diabetes show, Emily Bowler here, who has gotten rid of her diabetes. Yeah. So I invited her to be on the show today because nothing like proof that it is possible. Mm-hmm. She wrote a beautiful book, which I would like you to have a look at here. Easy to read, 2 or 3 half days or a few nights. It's a true story of a person who had type 2 diabetes and gives you the hints and refers you eventually to Dr. Fuhrman, who I truly believe in, because he wrote a book called End of Diabetes. Actually, the hardcover of this book, my name's actually on the cover, on the back of it, yeah, on the hard copy here. Excellent book. What he's saying, you can get rid of diabetes, and this is what our show is about today. It's about 30 minutes, and I have it every Monday, and it's on public access, 6:30. I've been saying this, frankly, for years. It's nothing new, but recently I found another book, which I encourage you at least to look at this YouTube and read the book if you like. The Diabetes Epidemic in You. Should everyone be tested? Absolutely not. Only those concerned about their future. Joseph R. Kraft. I'll be honest with you, to me, this is the Bible of health as far as I'm concerned, because type 2 diabetes, to me, is the #1 cause of death. You'll see it listed, Emily, as 6 or 7, but it is the cause of heart attacks and strokes and vascular disease and dementia, of all things. To find out 50% of dementia is due to elevated insulin levels related to diabetes, and amputations and dislocations and liver transplants, renal transplants. Most of these people have diabetes, the majority of which is preventable, stoppable, reversible. And Dr. Kraft published this book in 1972, and it's fascinating. And remember, on YouTube, 30 minutes, you can watch it. And he was a pathologist at University of Illinois, St. Joe Hospital in Chicago, where he autopsied 3,000 people. So he looked at the true pathology of what diseases and illnesses do. And then he studied 14,384 patients of his colleagues and divided them in 7 groups, and then ran glucose tolerance tests. That's where you swallow a certain amount of sugar. In those days, it was 100 grams of sugar. And they first get a fasting blood sugar, 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? Now the standard is 75 grams of sugar, and it's only done for a couple of hours. Fasting, 1 hour, 2 hours. And then he ran, this is what's different, and it's still not done much today unless you come to see me or a few other doctors, like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Fuhrman, is serum insulin. It is insulin's job, okay? It is insulin's job to push sugar into the cell for energy. Every cell is on these receptors, called receptors, okay? Sugar cannot get into the cell to provide the energy which you need. Without energy, you're dead. Insulin opens this door and sends it in there, okay? And what he determined is, if you do blood testing on people, that their serum insulins are elevated 5 to 15 years, maybe 20 years before the blood sugar goes up. So we're running blood sugar tests, even glucose tolerance tests on people whose serum insulin have been elevated for years, late in the disease, disease. Also, he divided them into 7 groups, starting at age 3. At age 3, 3 to 13, there were different groups, and he found 75% of them had abnormal tests.
Wow.
So, if we run those tests, we could coach the people. Now that maybe need to lose 5 pounds, 8 pounds, not 100 or 200, way down the line. Many have died since then from heart attacks, strokes, on the path to losing their legs. When you see people in wheelchairs, legs amputated, most of the times it's diabetes. I mean, a horrible situation for them. In the certain ethnic and racial groups, but this is even more common because their genes are different to begin with. Like in slavery, they were cutting sugar cane and they were starving the people. It doesn't matter whether they're black or white, they were slaves. They didn't know lunch, no dinner, so they ate sugar cane from the fields. That changed their genetic structure a bit. So they're more sensitive to eating sugary products, more likely to get diabetes. So if you see a person that's overweight, as far as I'm concerned, they're diabetic. But if you were to say to them, are you diabetic? No, I'm not diabetic. Someone just ran the wrong test. They ran a blood sugar test on them alone, and their blood sugars were normal, yet they weighed 250. If they'd done serum insulins, they'd be elevated. And we would say, you're diabetic, teach them how to improve the type of food. I don't even recommend a diet. You and I don't recommend a diet, do we? We teach you work with Dr. Furman, Dr. Asseltine, Dr. Mike Hyman, eat nutrient-dense food, and your blood sugars will drop and you get rid of disease pretty quickly. Just to go on a little bit with Dr. Kraft, he could even determine people who develop type 1 diabetes where you don't have insulin, okay? And type 2, you have too much insulin. And they found that in the type 1 diabetic, if you say we test children regularly, that's more common originally to occur in children, type 1, but actually the type 2 diabetics now, where the blood sugar keeps on going up because they are gaining insulin resistance, the pancreas secreting insulin like anything, and eventually the pancreas is sick and tired and it's dead. Now they're type also 1. They were type 2 from too much. Now they're type 1. But let's talk about the ones who were never type 2, okay? The ones who were never type 2. If you were to run serum insulins, even say on these kids, the ones that become the type 1, where you need insulin shots, you don't have any insulin, you can actually catch them on the path to that by serum insulins, because they would be running low serum insulins. And maybe is all of it purely genetic? No. They've now shown, I don't know how aware of you of this or not, that people who drink cow's milk are more likely to get diabetes. Yeah. Yeah, that's not well known. Yeah.
So what would you do with a child, say at 3 years old, like my son was diagnosed with type
Yeah.
1 at age 11. So
Yeah.
if that would have shown up on a test at age 3, what would they do diet-wise?
Yes.
Okay.
Number one is no milk.
Yeah, and I fed him milk.
You
We
see,
ate all
none
that
of us
stuff.
knew that.
Yeah,
But
Dairy Queen,
I
everything.
tell you, a wonderful book to read is, I don't know if you have read it or not, it is called Whitewash, like whitewash on a wall. You got to read this. I have extra copy at home. I give you 3 copies. By Joe Keon. That's how I remember it, Keon. It's a brutal book. It has full of references. Cows' milk is made for baby cows. If you were to take milk in a zoo, okay, so you have 2 different species in different cages. You took that milk and fed it to the species in the next cage. This female milk to this, that animal would die every time. Wow. Every time. Humans is a little more tolerant, but not totally so.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Another one to watch, and I'll lend you this too. This one I'll lend you the book. The Keon book I'll give you, but I only have 1 CD because I found it recently. Walter, but you can find him online. Walter J. Veight. Walter Waite. You think I'm a little bit brutal? This guy is really brutal. A real scientist, much more of a scientist than I am. He does the experiments. He'll have a cow next to him with a big udder with a bra on, okay? And he's talking. And he will literally say, if you drink milk from a cow, you're an idiot. But he'll give you the scientific proof. It's an hour long. It is great, but it's nice to have confirmation. What I like about it, that book and that together confirms what I've been seeing is true. Yeah. It's true. So type 1 diabetes can be affected by a type of food, especially milk drinking. Yeah.
And I fed my kids all that. Yeah.
Yeah, we all did. I remember I talked about my parents fed me milk, and I had acne so bad no girl would give me a kiss. Okay. Yeah, I cut out milk, that all stopped.
Wow.
And and the casein in milk is full of proteins. Matter of fact, Colin Campbell, who wrote the famous book about the world, China Study. He is in the casein in milk is the most carcinogenic chemical in the world.
Wow.
It's right in this book.
Wow.
Yeah, a great book to read. So let me just quote out of the preface of his book and kind of read to you this a little bit of Dr. Kraft. The very earliest diagnosis of diabetes, remember what we're talking about, is neither by fasting blood sugars nor by glycated hemoglobin. That's the HbA1c test they run on people all the time. Okay? Neither one. But only by insulin assays with normal glucose tolerance. A normal glucose tolerance test. As affirmed, and then he explains it all in this book. Just think of that.
Wow.
Yeah. It'll preceded by decades. And we talked about pre-diabetes and diabetes. He considers them the same. And it makes perfect sense because we know of 50% of heart attacks that occur, vascular disease that occurs, 50% of vascular disease, they grab their chest and they die. No warning, no injury, nothing. They go boom and they're dead. Can be 30s, 40s, 50s. So, and remember I said diabetes is the cause of heart attacks, strokes, and renal disease and liver disease. Liver transplants will be huge in this nation coming up. 1 out of 2 people in this nation, 50%, are pre-diabetic, and majority don't know it. So important that why doesn't the government change? I do not know. It's all in the literature here, though. Read this book, other books, look at his YouTube shows. And a fascinating chapter in here, too, is on vascular disease. Yeah. Remember, he did all these biopsies, autopsies, which they don't do much anymore because they don't want to pay for it, but that's the bottom line. They do them maybe in a gunshot injury or an accident. They don't do it as much, which is a mistake. And what he found is that the septum between the right and left ventricle of the heart has a very small area that blood supplies by the small vasculature. The earliest changes from elevated insulins occur in that microvasculature, which affects the rhythm of your heart. That's where the rhythm is from. The one even before where changes occur, and this can only be demonstrated at autopsy, blood doesn't change, is in the kidney. The glomeruli of the kidney is the very first change from the path to diabetes. But generally we diagnose it late. It take a kidney biopsy. We're not going to screen people with kidney biopsies. But next is vascular change. And then in the eye, retinal changes. They're doing retinal scans now. And they have found the microvasculature of the eye, some visual changes occur, diagnosis the way we diagnose diabetes today, which is the glucose tolerance test, about 7 years.
Okay, wow. Yeah,
next would be PED, ability to have an erection. That's about 3 years before time. So, and Dr. Kraft would say if a patient comes to the emergency room and they had a heart attack or having a heart attack, and you say, well, are you diabetic? And the patient says no, Dr. Kraft would say they're diabetic, they just don't know it. They haven't had the right test. And the reason is the first thing that the elevated serum insulin attacks, it inflames the blood vessels, the capillaries, all over your body. That's the reason for the retinal changes, the PED, the numbness in the hands and the legs precedes the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So if you're going to your doctor and you're going to have screening done, ask for a serum insulin test, and if you need to, pay for it yourself. Not that expensive.
Is there a place in Fort Wayne that you can get that done?
Yeah, you can get a LabCorp.
Okay.
If your doctor recommends it, some insurances will pay for it, okay? I say if you get it through a hospital system, watch out. They're talking screening tests, sometimes thousands.
Oh, wow.
But a serum insulin, I've been there, they wanted $7.
Okay.
And Dr. Kraft would even say if you wanted the simplest test going, okay? You do the glucose tolerance where you swallow the sugar, you fast overnight, and you go to the lab and they have you swallow sugar. But actually, be truthful with you, actually, if you just ate a whole bunch of Oreos,
yeah, it'd be
I
a
don't
better
know
way of
what the number is, 20,
Yeah.
it'd be real cheap.
Yeah.
And what it is, and you get enough sugar to run a glucose tolerance test. And all you need is a 2-hour serum insulin. What did I say? $10, $30, depending on whatever you can negotiate there. That's all you need.
So if that came back that you had elevated serum, what would you
If
do?
it's over 40, if it's over 40,
it's over 40, okay.
you're diabetic.
Okay.
Okay, but confirm it with another test.
Sure.
Repeat this with some other manner, but at least be alert.
Okay.
You mean that you're there. But you're going to have a hard time finding providers that have the knowledge. You know what I mean?
I've never had.
Yeah, I will say this. It would be interesting what your serum insulin is right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Done. Yeah.
Because it changes with age and stuff,
Sure.
and that'd be a neat thing to do. You know?
So if you're eating a plant-based diet,
It would be interesting for
would
you to
that-
get a glucose tolerance test.
Yeah.
And at the same time, glucose, fasting,
Sure.
serum insulin fasting, 1 hour, two.
Yeah.
Don't go beyond 2 hours,
Yeah.
and show it to me.
Okay.
And incidentally, on Fridays, I see people for free at the Three Rivers Pharmacy. You can call Sheila Walker over there. That's right by Concordia High and the Fireside, the coffee shop, right there. I see them for free. And I coach a lot of people how to get rid of their diabetes or their addictions or something. And that's nice for people to know.
Sure.
I'm there every Friday from 9 to 12. And they also show, you don't believe this, Sheila Walker, who bought the pharmacy, she owns it. She has a big screen TV there, and they play all my YouTube shows while you're walking in. So somebody wants some medicine, a prescription. The other day I walk in there, you had this gentleman who had been buying blood pressure medication for years. She hasn't owned it for years, but somebody else owned it. And she says, can you imagine a pharmacist saying to you, would you like to get rid of your high blood pressure?
Wow, they don't say that.
She sits them down, they watch one of my diabetes shows.
That's nice.
And then she'll say, do you need more information? I give you an appointment to see Dr. Cashman. And he charges nothing. Can you imagine a pharmacy like that?
That's amazing.
Three Rivers Pharmacy, right by Concordia High there. And talk to Sheila Walker. You can't avoid her because she'll want to meet her. She's laughing all the time. She is that kind of personality. You know what I mean? She attends some of my lectures, and matter of fact, we got to say this. She gives away a ninja machine, like for the movies.
Sure.
Every lecture,
your raffle.
People walk in, get a number. You saw it. You were at one of my lectures, and gives it away. And the other day, there's this kid in the neighborhood who's a bit overweight, and I thought he needed one, and that day we gave away 2, and we arranged for him to win. I had a ticket already picked, and I saw him recently as a child that's overweight, and he's doing smoothies for the whole family. So he has a chapter in here on vascular disease, and I would, from that, concluded that 97% of all vascular disease, heart attack, strokes, start with elevated serum insulin. So I left 3%. So the other day, I speak to a lady who's come to see me because she's after diabetes herself, and she's in charge of the electrical part of the heart with a group of doctors who do nothing but electrical work. Okay, and I told her about this, and she says, "Remember, I said the 3% in the septum." And you know what she said to me? It's not just 97%. The other 3%, they're all diabetics too.
Oh.
Yeah. So preventable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So most of these hearts we have on these hospitals, these cathedrals of heart, we could prevent most of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sad.
That's the reason it's sad that that's not being done. We have an opportunity to get rid of these things. I think people are living in denial and delusions, even when the patients hear us, they just don't believe it, but I got the books here.
And then the side effects from the drugs you're put on.
and the side of and the cost.
Yeah, and the cost. Nobody can afford it anymore.
Nobody can afford them. So to make things simple, so you don't have to read so much, some people are a little hesitant about that. I tell people, well, just eat the right food. Are you convinced, Emily? I'm convinced if you eat the right food, you probably don't even need to read.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just eating the fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds.
Exactly what we're talking about. Eat a nutrient-dense way of eating.
Yes.
Yeah, full of vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals. You eat this way and eat all you want. We're not even at passion control. It's the right food. People have been eating processed food and too much meat. So I recommend to people, get this book of Dr. Furman, Quick and Easy, Eat to Live, right here. I can just open the book up to anything and it's healthy food. There's a picture of it.
There's beautiful pictures in it too.
Beautiful
That's
pictures,
beautiful.
smoothies and desserts and soups. And then I just open it up here. Let's see what we got. Quick baba ganache, which from cabbage and broccoli. And
There's your crispy kale chips. There you go. You can make those
and
today.
I mean, just look at this. I thought you can open it up to anything, and we were just talking about kale chips as being, for one thing, a healthy snack. You can turn them into chips that you eat, not hard to make. And you were saying your husband would take. I always recommend people an easy thing. Halfway there, don't drink sodas, okay, because of sugar in them. Have a smoothie every day. You can go to Cashman, you can get it out of this book. You can get smoothies right here, Cashman Facebook. I have a smoothie recipes on there. You're halfway there at least, and if you and don't use the hummuses and things that are processed.
That are store-bought, mainly store-bought.
Yeah, full of salt, unhealthy. Make them yourself. Make some kale chips yourself. This is a wonderful book. You don't want type 2 diabetes 6 weeks from now. 90% of the time, follow this. Take a walk every day. Sing with the birds like I do. You'll be healthy. It isn't a huge, big deal. Most patients do not realize that you can get rid of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, probably in 6 weeks or so, 90% of the time. Why is that? I explain the reason. Is that we have in us the biome, okay? These gut bacteria, trillions of bacteria are living with you here. And the lifespan of one of these bacteria, 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes. The lifespan of the mucosa that covers your gut, 1 cell layer thick, 24 hours. And this runs the metabolism of your body. So you eat the right food, okay, nutrient-dense food, okay, 80%, have to be 100%, okay. That'll change your biome like that because the lifespan of your friends is 20 minutes and mucosa 24 hours. And Mark Hyman will say when he talks about diabetes, start worrying about getting rid of your medications within a week or two. Oral medication maybe a week, insulin maybe a few weeks. So call your doctor. You're going to eat right. Test your blood more frequently because it'll change quickly. Readjust yourself. And you would have avoided maybe 50 diseases, dislocations, dementia. I mean, it's a wonderful opportunity. So participate in your health care. Watch our shows. Look at YouTube's. I have about 10 on diabetes lectures on there. And get some information. And maybe I've written books on stop diabetes myself, okay? But Dr. Furman, Eat to Live, very good book. Another one, Furman wrote, Disease Proof for Your Child. Don't turn your kids into a sugar addict. And Emily will tell her story. Her story how you were a sugar addict as a child.
Absolutely. I was fed sugar. In fact, infant formula had tons of sugar in it.
Yeah.
And I was fed that, and then always cookies and pies. And
you got it.
potato salad.
And we didn't know in those days.
Yeah,
My
Kool-Aid.
parents gave me bad food, but we know this now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, industry has the government and all of us imprisoned in processed food, and we have to break out of this ourselves by doing it. But the information's available. Look at my YouTube, read my books, read Furman books, get his recipe book, and goodbye diabetes and 50 diseases.
Yeah.
And Emily, thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
And we both are here because we love you, we care about you. And if you need to see somebody, see me at the pharmacy, or watch our YouTube TV shows. And namaste. Thank you very much. And if you run into me wherever, give me a hug, say thanks. Or challenge me in pickleball.